Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tiffany Ave Talks, where I talk to people I like about things I like. I am Tiffany Ave, and today I am talking to a community activist and volunteer enthusiast, now content creator, John Locke. Welcome. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I love to support independent media because that's how people really get what's going on in the grassroots.
Okay, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. I wanted to talk to you in efforts to spread awareness to a cause which is clearly close to you. It's also close to myself and many others, which is giving back. Your scenario of giving back is a little mind blowing because you have been volunteering in Houston, feeding the homeless. And to most people, you would think that's a good deed, there wouldn't be any issues. But upon discovering your videos on TikTok, I've learned that you have been receiving citations and tickets for feeding the homeless.
All right, John, you're going to be issued a citation for violating the food service event ordinance.
I like to see it pass food out to the homeless.
Anybody want more food? Come on through.
This is John, a volunteer with Food Not Bombs. This is ticket we received number 80. We definitely need a change, and we need a change now.
So I want to get your take on that and everything around it. But before we get into that, I want to know just a little bit about you, such as like your upbringing, lifestyle, and what led you to doing this type of work in the community.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that, and thank you again for having me. So my name is John Locke, volunteer with Food Not Bombs. I've been involved in community organizing for, I want to say, the past 10 years, and Food Not Bombs kind of introduced me to that. I started with Food Not Bombs about 11, 12 years ago. Literally, right when they started the feeding ordinance. Happened was a friend of mine that I was going to University of Houston downtown with told me a story about how on her birthday, instead of having her friends give her presents, she had all of her friends make sandwiches with her and give them out to the homeless. And I was like, man, that's so cool. We should do something like that here. And when we did some research, we found out that there was a feeding ordinance passed that you couldn't feed five or more people without getting like permission from the city and the owner and all this other like paperwork. So I was like, man, that's crazy. And I started doing, more research and started getting more involved. And that literally kind of got me into like the community activism atmosphere. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, so I've been in that for a while. I worked with different nonprofits in the past, and that focused on volunteerism. And I've been active. There's a program I did called Walk to Vote when I was in college. Was basically like you hold a uh, like an event with a concert with music or whatever with local artists, and then afterwards everyone marched together to the polls and vote. So now I've had a little bit of experience here and there as far as community organizing.
Okay, nice. So you say that you've been working with Food Not Bombs for a really long time. What is it about that organization that stands out to you that do continuous work with them?
Yeah, that's a good question. They're very different from nonprofits that I've worked with in the past. They're non-hierarchical, so like there's no head. Everybody is kind of the same. It's kind of close-knit network of volunteers and activists and people that just believe that no one should be hungry and everybody should have the right to having healthy meals.
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about the citations. So apparently, there's the law of the food violation of food service. So is there any possibility that we can see that law change?
I mean, we're hoping so, and I hope so. It's an unnecessary law, and it seems like it's aimed towards people of poverty.
Mhm.
Um, when that law was passed, a lot of businesses that was giving out food that they would normally throw away stopped giving it out for fear of getting like a $2,000 fine or whatever. So it had a major impact on the community. This year is the first year anyone has received tickets actually for this feeding ordinance. It was just kind of put in place, but not enforced, more of like a scare tactic, which it did that.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, something changed, and I think it was either March or May. One of the emblems, they started giving us tickets for feeding the homeless, and it literally on the tickets they were giving us earlier in the year, it said literally, for feeding the homeless on there.
Wow.
But when we won a case in court, kind of based on that, so now they changed the language slightly on the tickets. It doesn't say like homeless. It says for holding a food service event.
Oh, okay. So what can people do to kind of like work towards that? I'm guessing it's kind of like a power and number thing. The more people show up, more results can happen.
Exactly. The main thing, we have a new mayor that will be sworn in, I believe, in January, Whitmire. So it'd be definitely for people to reach out to the mayor's office, reach out to their city council members. If you don't know your city council member, you can kind of Google it and put in your address, and it'll show you who represents you, and hold the politicians accountable for things that don't make sense.
Right.
Uh, so far, the judges and the juries have agreed with us that this law doesn't make sense. Um, the Mayor Turner, who is leaving now, he applied all this pressure to us and said it was because of the library. Patrons at the library are being bothered by the homeless that are coming around there. Well, first of all, we've been there for like, I don't know, almost 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Homeless. We serve at 7:30 p.m., which is an hour after the library closes. And then another thing is during this one of the hottest summers we had in a while, they had cooling centers, and literally the libraries are cooling centers for people that don't have a place to cool down, i.e., homeless people, i.e., people that are, you
Right.
know, don't have cars and stuff. So it didn't make sense for them to say that they're ticketing us for that when literally the library is used as a place for people that don't have a lot of money, that don't have a housing to be able to cool down when it's too hot outside. So there's a contradiction in what's
Mm-hmm.
being by the mayor and what's being done, and what's actually happening. If you've been to the downtown library, you can see it's gated. Like there's a tall iron gate around the whole library. So nobody's bothering people in the library. We haven't seen any complaints. They haven't gave us the complaints of people they said that were complaining at the library. So a lot of this doesn't make sense. And when things start to not make sense, I'll start looking for if there's any money involved somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a contradiction of beliefs and actions and things like that. Well, let's see what's motivating people to have these contradictions and what's really going on behind the scenes.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, how does it feel when like doing this type of work and it seems almost like you're being penalized for doing so?
It really motivates me of why I'm doing this to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just the last time, I think Friday, we were serving at 7:30, and it started. It was raining. It was raining fairly hard, and there were still people that were lined up out there that wanted to eat, that were hungry. So just like imagine wanting to stand outside in the rain just for a plate of
Mm-hmm.
food. So there's obviously people that are hungry and people that are in need, and it's heartbreaking that our leaders, our these political leaders and the people that are in office are not acknowledging it and trying to hinder the people that already have so much stacked against them already.
Yeah. Is there anything that happens like if the citations continue? Like, is there a limit on citations or how does that work?
The citations continue. A couple of fun facts. So we serve Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday in front of the downtown Houston Library on Smith and McKinney. The police only come there Monday and Wednesday to give us citations. And it's almost like a play is being played out, right? Like they come over there, they say, "Hey John, how you doing?" All right, hey, here's your warning. And they give me a piece of paper that says they're warning me for about doing a feeding or whatever. And then after I feed, after I hand out like five, six plates, then they give me a ticket and stand there for a little bit longer, and then they leave. But it's
Mm.
you know, kind of like a theater of
Yeah.
such, or you know, and they like they'll stand right behind me to see. They literally count the plates that I'm giving out. It's it can give anyone like anxiety and you know when you have someone you know so close to you with their hand on their gun like watching you feed people, right? Like I don't know, it's a weird scenario, and this is kind of a weird political space we're in now.
Yeah. Do you ever fear like things escalating, like being out there with law enforcement and
Yeah, there's been a couple of times where there's like multiple things happening at once. Like they're you know, you can tell the energy in the area when the cops are like on guard or has something else going on, and that energy just kind of reaches across to everybody, and you know, you can feel the tension and anxiety, and it's you know, it's unfortunate that you know where we're trying to have a safe space to serve people that are hungry and share food, we gotta have this kind of tension of violence that's always just right along the corner.
okay. Okay. So what about your experience made you decide to bring it to social media and turn it into content?
You know, we have some very great and creative people that work with Food Not Bombs, and you know they're you know Punk with the camera, I believe is one of the handles, and they're just really good at making videos and getting the message out there.
Mhm.
So as far as my experience, I always felt like it was good to share like when you're volunteering and stuff on social media because people will see it and be like, oh, I want to do that too. How can I volunteer or how can I get involved? It's a good way to introduce these things to people that may not be aware that they exist and that want to add more to their lives and give back to the community.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's a good point you make this because a lot of times there's a little bit of a stigma when it comes to like doing volunteer work online. But I think the way that Food Not Bombs does it in your channel, it's very tasteful, more so like the awareness point of view, which is
Right.
much needed.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're trying to get people rally towards getting this law changed now. And you know, it's not just original to Houston. It's been this type of law has been passed in Las Vegas, Chicago, and like a lot of major cities. And there's a trend towards that. And we need to get awareness out to the people, let them know what's happening, and you know, let's deliberate publicly. Do we think this is right? Do you think people should be ticketed for sharing food, for giving people, you know, one of their five basic needs?
Okay. Aside from not being ticketed citations, what would be your ideal like resolution for what's happening in the community?
The ideal resolution would be for them to take down this feeding ordinance, and instead of trying to hinder us serving the community, them to help us, or you know, bring resources our way, or you know, have the library collaborate with us to share. We can share information from them and resources that they may have. You know,
Mm-hmm.
oh, community is exactly what it is. It's supposed to be community. It's supposed to be community with everybody in it, like everybody collaborating together, not individual like silos of people. So I think the more people that's able to collaborate and work together, the better.
Okay, so just building the community, having more of the local and public get involved with what's going on.
Yes.
You are always encouraging more and more people to volunteer and support. So I just want to open the floor up to you to tell the audience how they, if they are local, how they can get involved, and if there is any options to contribute nationwide.
Yeah, so it's very easy to get involved. Just you can bring yourself, and you can bring a vegetarian or vegan dish to the corner of Smith and McKinney at 7:30 p.m. sharp, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. and it usually lasts about an hour, so it doesn't take much of your time. And at 7:30 p.m. If they want to donate, there's links on the Food Not Bombs Houston homepage on their TikTok, their Instagram, and Facebook page. And if they want to support from afar and don't want to donate money or anything like that, they can just share the message, share the videos, let people know what's going on. Leave a comment of what you think about the situation. This is it's kind of like a public deliberation, right? It is where we allow the public to see what's going on and to discuss it amongst themselves and all of us. And let's come up with solutions. So let's put pressure on the politicians that are in office and let them know how we feel and that we need some change happening here in Houston and anywhere else that we have ordinances like this that hinder the poor.
Okay, great. Well, I want to thank you so much for and talk about your cause, and hopefully we can bring some more awareness to the issue and work on getting matters resolved in a better place for the community. And thank you for being a part of the show. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Tiffany Avayé Takes. Also on Instagram at Tiffany Avayé Takes. Thank you for watching.